Well, good evening, everyone. By the time this uploads, it'll probably be early morning. I was asleep a little earlier, but I woke up and so I'll probably get a little bit more sleep here soon. But yeah, I fell asleep and then I woke up, and I think I know why because I think I need to give you all this update of what's going on. And I have a little bit of a message for people if they're interested in hearing it. But I had an interesting weekend, a good weekend, very blessed, and kind of feel guilty in a way, I guess, because of the horrific tragedy in Texas that actually, I guess you could say, it hit me a little harder than maybe I let on with people around me, or, um, you know, how you kind of ponder things in your heart and you just, you don't say a whole lot. I haven't, posted a whole lot about a lot of different things because one, I was kind of just taking a break from it, just observing, witnessing, watching, listening, learning, all these things, and seeing what other people are saying and so forth. But yeah, uh, we all know the horrible tragedy in Texas, and unfortunately, it continues. And it's very eerily reminiscent, unfortunately, of what happened in North Carolina last year in the Swanoa Valley and just certain areas of Tennessee and North Carolina, and just all the devastation, from last year in certain areas. And but for me, this hit me personally because there were there were two times in my life that I was in Texas. Um, Once when I was around 10 to 11 years old, and then from like 15 to 18 years old, as my dad got assigned there twice to Fort Sam Houston, and I actually graduated high school in San Antonio. And the reason I think this hit me so hard is when you're familiar with certain areas, you've either been to them or you just know about them. Um, and specifically, I knew about Kerr County and Kerrville and um, Bernie, and people pronounce it different ways. It's Boerne, Bernie or Burn or whatever. Um, Bexar County, of course, is a county in San Antonio, Bexar. So this is an area I was familiar with because we would play them a lot in football and basketball in high school. So, like traveling to the different towns, areas, or, if people didn't travel to see the games or whatever, these teams from those areas, from those counties, from those small towns in Texas would travel to our school and play them in football and basketball and stuff. So you look at the schedule for football, basketball, or whatever, and you see you're playing this team or that team or whatever, and you just get familiar with the name of the towns and the people. And it's like, man, this is a long time ago. I graduated high school in 1988, but you don't forget. I mean, so it kind of becomes more personal to you. So it's like, man, this just sucks. I mean, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate what's happening to our country. I hate this devastation. I hate the innocent children and the people that have been victimized. And then, also the heroic acts that Michael Snyder reported on, in his Substack. The people that are willing to risk their lives to save others. I mean, so you have those stories as well on the more positive end, but it's just been horrific, and it continues to be horrific for that area. And like I said, it just, and then I think it was Green Eyed Okie, Jesus the Only Way, posted something from Comfort, Texas, showing a house just falling into the water. I mean, from Comfort, Texas, and the erosion and so forth. And I was just, I witnessed that, and I was just, that brought back memories because my best friend in the Navy, who was murdered later on when he got out of the Navy, he was from that area. And so I was just like, man, all this stuff just keeps flooding back, these memories and these just, like I said, when you're familiar with certain areas, it might hit you a little harder than it does other people. For other people, they're just towns or cities or areas, and it's unfortunate. But if you've been there, or you're familiar with it, or you knew people from there, or whatever, or like I said, my best friend in the Navy was murdered. Um, after he got out of the Navy, years after he got out, but still, you know, we were best friends in the Navy, and he's from that area, and I was just like, man, it just sucks. I don't know how else to say it's just been, and it's like, it's hitting me more now because I did have a really good weekend, a very blessed weekend. I was very fortunate, and like I said, I kind of felt guilty about it because of all the devastation and the death and destruction. But I was able to pray, um, you know, out loud about it. I was kind of chosen to do it because uh, and to just kind of express, how everybody was feeling, and how we don't want to forget, even in the times of fellowship and friendship, when you get around certain people, the the pain and suffering of others. And people are like, "What are you talking about?" Well, this weekend, my son and I had the opportunity to go visit Ignited Church in Livonia, Georgia, and my wife and daughter were not able to make the trip. My wife just got done with a pretty long trip herself to seeing her family, and she had just returned, so this was like it was a long drive for her, and my daughter has some personal things she needed to take care of. So, but my son and I made the trip, and I was thinking about doing it for quite a while. Um, you know, it was in the back of my mind for a while because there was a specific thing that, because of, not only just 4th of July weekend, but originally everyone thought and was hoping and praying that Pastor Ben Faircloth would be able to return to the pulpit today and preach. But that wasn't the Father's plan. He was there, and and I'll get into that in a minute. But he he did not preach. His wife preached, and she preached a superb message. I shared it earlier. Very, very true. And it was called "The Church Is Fallen," and it's a great message. I highly suggest that people listen to it and share it. Benjamin Faircloth YouTube channel. I shared it to the post and so forth. And go back and listen to the live stream that apparently was having difficulty loading at the time. So if people were trying to tune into the live stream, apparently there were issues, but it's loaded now. And I suggest people go to ignitedchurchlife.com and click on the live stream and listen to the prophetic word that Pastor Ben received, because when he received that, I, also received something kind of around at the same time that was inspired by that prophetic word, as well as kind of confirmed by Jen's message, because I had no idea what she was going to talk about, preach on, or whatever. But it was a great time because I hadn't been there in a long time, and my son and I, made the trip, and he drove, which was good for me because we used his vehicle, which is also good. Didn't have to put any more miles on my car, and so and his car was very comfortable to ride in. So I was like, okay. So I felt blessed by that because I didn't have to drive because I do a lot of driving during the week, and I hadn't put any more miles on my car. So I thank him for that. So that was really cool of him to do that, and so we had a good father son trip, because I don't see him all that often, you know, um, so or at least you know hang out. Let's just put it that way. Dads, you understand what I'm saying. I don't get to talk to him all that much and hang out all that often. So it was cool to have this trip. But anyway, I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you all what I witnessed. I'm gonna tell you all what I observed, because sometimes seeing is believing. You hear a lot of things, and people talk, or you can assume, which I never like to do that, but people they have their ideas and opinions and so forth. Well, let me tell you what this was about. um, July 6th today, like I said, it had been in my heart and mind for a while to go down to visit because I hadn't done it in a long time. And I said everyone was thinking, believing that Pastor Ben would be back, behind the pulpit to preach and so forth this day, but that didn't happen. But it was a great time of friendship and fellowship. A lot of changes. Like I said, I hadn't been there in a long time, so um, I met people. I saw people that I didn't know. I didn't. I'd heard about them, heard their names or whatever, and they didn't know me. One person knew of me. They'd seen my face on social media and so forth, so they knew who I was. But everybody else, they didn't know, and I was like, cool, it's awesome. So you can meet people you didn't know before and hang out and fellowship and everything. So that was nice. And then when when we were able to, they had planned a barbecue basically. There was a baptism service after the preaching today, and then we all fellowshipped and ate, had good food and so forth, and that's why I was chosen. Pastor Ben chose me to pray over the meal and so forth, which that's when I was able to talk about Texas and the missing girls and the unfortunate death and just the unfortunate circumstance and situation all around. And but seeing Pastor Ben, did my heart good, and he texted me a few hours ago, and he really appreciated us, coming down and visiting and seeing him and so forth. As I said, we've known each other a long time, and you know, let me tell you, I mean, this is just a strong man. I mean, he's just a strong man of the Lord, and uh, you know, overall, he's doing better, a lot better. But it's his voice. His voice is really hoarse. He just doesn't have his voice back to where it was before. Uh, People are hoping and praying it does return, but at the same time, who knows? You know, I mean, we talked a little bit about it. He could have had his vocal cords damaged from intubation, extubation, or whatever. We don't know. It's really difficult, and I know it's very frustrating for him and the family because they've been through a lot this year, a lot. You know, but this is a strong family. It's a strong group of people. If you ever get the opportunity, you know, to go to Livonia, Georgia, Northeast Georgia, um, real nice area. Nice drive depending upon where you're coming from and so forth. Ignited Church in Livonia, Georgia. I highly recommend you stop in. I highly recommend it. You just they'll welcome you with open arms. You know, you'll be treated like family. It's just a great group of people. Just a real. They're just real. I mean, let's just put it that way. There's no fakery here. That's probably not a word, but you know what I'm saying. There's no pretenses or anything. Nobody has an agenda or anything of that nature. These are just real, decent people. Just love the Lord, love each other, and like I said, I got the names I'd heard before. I got to see them, meet people, and it was really cool. And they're the real deal. People are looking for, okay, well, what kind of ministry do I support, or who do I help, or who can I trust? Who can I, how do I know my money's going to what it's going to if I give to a certain ministry or whatever? I can guarantee you and promise you that if you help out Ignited Church, if the Holy Spirit leads you to do so, if the Lord leads you to help out Ignited, that your money will go to the whatever money you give, whatever support you give, will go to exactly what you want it to. And I saw it all firsthand this weekend. I know what they're planning for with hurricane season and disaster relief. I know what they have and what they're able to use, and I know how they're able to respond. And I saw it all, and so they're getting ready, folks. They're getting ready for hurricane season, disaster relief training. They're doing water rescue training as well as first aid training. All the stuff that I've talked about on the other channel before it was taken down in this channel for years, highly suggesting and recommending that people learn first aid training, CPR, whatever it is that they need to know, because eventually there won't be a 911. There won't be a response. You're not going to be able to rely on the government. You're not going to be able to rely on, you may not even be able to rely on, like I said, your local police or firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, or whatever. So I know people probably don't believe that and they think that's bunk or whatever. Well, time will tell, okay? But all I know is Ignited is their own 911. Okay, they're getting ready. They're getting ready. Their people are ready, and they're ready to do whatever needs to be done. So it did my heart good to see all this as well, and and just to catch up and just to see things firsthand and have, and be blessed the way we were, uh, you know, um, just by just fellowshipping, hanging out, having a good time, food and friendship, fellowship kind of thing. So anyway, but yeah, definitely go to the Ignited Church live stream and listen to the word that Pastor Ben put out, because it's very interesting. Because as a lot of people have their opinions or beliefs on things, how they think things should go or work or whatever else, and some people speak curses and instead of blessings, and they want people hurt, they want people dead, they want people to suffer because they're evil. And they'll come on their live streams, or they'll come on their channels, or they'll come on whatever it is they have available to them, and they will speak curses. And this is the word that Pastor Ben gave that I thought was very interesting. He said the Lord gave him. He said that he has only gone through, and it's not just him, but it's for anybody who wants to receive this. It's like he had only gone through half of the doors that the Lord basically has set up for him. You have to listen exactly to his words, but that's pretty much what it is. Only half of the doors that the Lord has put in front of him, he's only gone through half of them. And that might be the same thing in your life, and you may not even know it, or my life, or whatever else. And he goes, that's pretty amazing. So if there's like 100 doors that he's been ordained or destined to go through or whatever, he's only gone through 50 of them. So I really pondered on that because I was thinking, not this is the first thing that came to me about that, and not to criticize anybody that feels this way or disparage anyone or anything, but that kind of leads me to believe that we're not getting out of here anytime soon. I hate to burst people's bubble, but I know a lot of people looking for a rapture on this date and that date and this time and that time. This is what just came to me. I'm thinking, man, if you only gone through half of what the Lord has put in front of you, whatever those doors are, you got a long way to go. Well, one, it means he's not done with you yet, and two, it means that you still got a long way to go on this journey before anybody's getting out of here anytime soon. That's what kind of came to me about it. And then when Jen, she started to preach, the church is fallen, and you have to listen to the whole sermon to see what kind of inspired that, and and the message that she got. Well, first I started thinking about Pastor Ben's prophetic word that he released before Jen got up and preached. But as I was listening, I was thinking to myself, you know, this is what came to me. It's just like, who the most dangerous person in the world is? And Jen touched on this a little bit too, but not saying that, but the subject matter. The most dangerous person in the world is not a Navy SEAL or, somebody from Marine Force Recon, Special Operations Command, special operator or UFC fighter or professional martial artist, or you name it, anything that would pop into people's head, when they think about a dangerous person, someone that could do damage or what have you. The most dangerous person in the world, man or woman, okay, is simply the person that will obey God at any cost, that will obey the Lord at any cost, because there's no stopping them. Because if they're willing to lay it all on the line, put it all out there, and they will obey the Lord at any cost, no matter what he tells them to do. And Jen did touch on this a little bit, the obedience aspect of it. And the Lord tells someone to do something, and they'll do it. And they don't care what anybody says, what anybody thinks, whether they agree or disagree, because they know it's what the Lord wants them to do. It's what the Lord is telling them to do. That's the most dangerous person in the world, is the person that will simply obey the Lord no matter what. Obey the Father no matter what. Because like I said, they can't be stopped. They're unstoppable. Because they just, it's like every door will be open, and they will be abundantly blessed, and they will be able to accomplish more than anybody else could possibly think or fathom, because they're willing to do whatever God is telling them to do, and he will just bless them immensely. So my encouragement to people is, no matter what the Lord is putting on your heart, no matter what the Father's put in your heart, and the Holy Spirit is directing you to do that. Obey the Father, obey the Lord, whatever it is he's telling you to do. And you know, and it's the people that fight it and fight it and fight it. They're the ones that are the most miserable, and they're the ones that are swayed by every wind of doctrine, and they don't know whether they're coming or going, and they're confusing themselves, and they're easily confused and deceived and so forth, because they're not willing to submit to his will. They're not willing to submit to what he wants them to do. So but the people that are like, my life is yours, Whatever you want me to do, Lord, I am bought and paid for with a price. I will obey you no matter what. Those people are dangerous. Those people are the ones that will accomplish anything and everything they set their mind to, because the Lord has basically ordained it in their life, and they're willing to make the sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice. They'll obey no matter what, no matter what the cost. So, I don't know, think about it, pray about it if you feel led to or whatever. Um, I'll just say this, and I think I'll go ahead and end this thing, is don't be rebellious. Whatever it is, the Lord's telling you to do something. Don't rebel against it, because um, you'll suffer, and maybe people around you will suffer. You don't want to be in that situation. I remember years ago when I had the other channel, there was one time I was really led to put out a teaching. It was quite a few messages on obedience, the importance of obedience. And I know people say, that, and it's true that, do not fear is in the word like 365 times for each day of the year. And that's really cool. That's very important. But do you know that the word obedience throughout the entire Bible is in the Bible over 700 times? That's how important it is to obey the Lord. It's in there over 700 times. You can look it up for yourself. That's how important obedience is to God. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Everyone's probably familiar with that verse and so forth in Samuel. But, you know, I mean, over 700 times, you would think it's pretty important. God says something once, that's important enough. Over 700 times, I think obedience is pretty important. And I remember when I put those messages out on the importance of obedience and being obedient to the Lord, I never got more backlash and more people telling me. I was shocked at how many people were fighting against that and telling me that it's not important to obey the Lord, and who am I to tell them this and who am I to tell them that. And I'm just like, wow, what a rebellious spirit and heart. I was shocked. I couldn't believe how many people came against me for those messages. I hadn't been, people hadn't come against me, for, you know, that was the most, let's just put it this way, that anybody ever came against me for any message I'd ever put out, anything I'd ever said or posted. I was just like, wow, people really do not want to obey God. They really do not want to obey the Lord. They really, really want to live their own life on their own terms and do whatever they want. And then they wonder why their life's such a mess. And Jen talks quite a bit about that too. So listen to the sermon. The Church Has Fallen. Benjamin Faircloth YouTube channel. I posted earlier. IgnitedChurchLife.com if you want to hear Pastor Ben's prophetic word. And the whole live stream worship service, and what else is said and so forth. And I encourage people to do that. And if you ever get the opportunity, go visit Ignited Church in Livonia. Go to the website, IgnitedChurchLife.com. All the information's there, and you'll be blessed. And I was glad that my son and I were able to get up there and enjoy the fellowship and see exactly what was going on firsthand, and and be a part of it from a distance, but at the same time, it's definitely within driving distance for us. So maybe even a part of it, more hands-on. We'll see. We'll see what the Lord has in store, and what happens this summer with hurricane season and all these other disasters. And I'll just say one last thing. I was listening to a live stream on the way back from Josh from End Times Talk, and I like the guy. I don't know him, but I like him, and I sent him a message. I commented, and I said, man, I said, I got your back on this. I agree with a lot of things you're saying. We might not see eye to eye in the rapture or whatever. That's fine. And he agreed. I said, but, I said, regarding all of this devastation and death and chaos, and people say, well, nothing happened this weekend. Well, except in Texas, of course, which is just horrific, but elsewhere, there's a lot of stuff that happens worldwide and in the U.S. and so forth. But so I wouldn't say people say, it wouldn't be, it'd be kind of foolish to say that nothing significant happened this weekend. And I didn't celebrate anything. My family really didn't celebrate anything. My wife got back from her trip. We spent a lot of time talking about her trip. Didn't see a firework. Heard them. Didn't see it. Didn't look at it on TV. Didn't care. Don't even know what I'm celebrating anymore. Don't care. You know, it was, to me, we should be in ashes and sackcloth, mourning for this nation. But that's just my opinion. But he did say something that was interesting. He said that if there was things released, toxins, whatever, if there was bioterror, if there was biowarfare, if something happened that we don't know about, I thought it was like 45 days that people might, it might manifest or whatever, or there was like an incubation period. But he was saying the information he received and the things that he was studying and research, and this is End Times Talk YouTube channel, and on Rumble, if people want to check it out. He said it could be up to 9 weeks. So that would bring us into September before people would even realize if they were affected, infected, whatever, by anything. So they wouldn't know till September. So think about it, I guess. I don't know. I said there's a lot of very devious, diabolical things going on out there. A lot of evil plans that the enemy has to destroy and kill as many people as possible, and it's just horrific. And I know people have their opinions on a lot of different things, and I get it, but man, the bottom line is that it results in pain and suffering and death, and that's really what it boils down to. So, and it's about saving souls. It's about getting people into the kingdom of heaven. Not enlarging hell. So I don't know. So anyway, hope you all have a good night, day, tomorrow, whatever. And I hope this message at least gave you something to think about, something to pray on. And like I said, I saw things firsthand for myself, and Pastor Ben's doing much better. He's able to get up and walk and talk, and and he's able to stand for long periods of time and so forth. But he's been through a lot. There's no doubt about that. And he's got to get his voice back. That's the main thing. And if hopefully it'll come back soon and he'll be able to preach again. But even if not, Lord's will be done. There's still a lot of things to do other than that, and a lot of things to be involved in, and a lot of things to accomplish, where you may not have to have a voice. You just got to act. Your actions speak louder than words most of the time anyway. And so as long as he's able to do that, the family's able to do that, Ignite is able to do that, then a lot of people will be blessed by their efforts, have been a long time, and will continue to be blessed by their efforts because of the people that they associate with, and the things that they're able to get done that a lot of people have no idea about. No clue, unless they go and visit themselves and find out the facts for themselves. Then they understand. So then they get how powerful the church, the true church, can be. But anyway, with that, I think I'm going to go. So y'all have a good, blessed evening, and I'll talk to you another time. Take care. Bye-bye.